Hey all, it's Dave, and I have a quick update to the episode of BV Weekly that you're about to hear. Andrew and I recorded it earlier in the afternoon on Thursday. The new Phoebe Bridgers song wasn't actually out yet, but Andrew mainly had heard it. He played it to me over the phone. He had in advance, but what we didn't have were the credits yet. The credits have since come out. They're very extensive, and they're full of some surprises. And I really wish we had seen them at the time. Most notably, we found out that Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus both sing on the new Phoebe track, which means all a boy genius is in the house. And that's the info that we most wish we knew, because we say some things that we definitely would have said differently if we had known that, as you will hear. So just keep that in mind while you're listening, that we did not know, but we now know that all a boy genius contribute vocals to the track. But that's not it. The track list is not the track list, but the credits for this track are super interesting. Alex G is on the track. He does additional production as well as drumming and voice memo. Jack Antonoff co-produced the track with Tony Berg and Ethan Gruska and Phoebe. And also Phoebe, Ethan, and Tony are just three of the many, many names that had contributed to Punisher in the past. Actually, Julian and Lucy were also on Punisher, but back is Christian Lee Hudson, Rob Moose, Sebastian Steinberg, Marshall Vore, Nate Walcott on trumpets, Harrison Whitford, Mike Mogus, again, mixed. Again, lots of Bright Eyes collaborators, but not the first time she has worked with them. Caroline Shaw did vocal arrangement. Most surprisingly, I think, is Chris Thiele of Nickel Creek shows up on mandolin. I'm not sure, you don't expect him, but Blake Mills, who also was on Punisher, is back doing synthesizers on this track. Anyway, on to the episode. This week, we got big announcements of two of the most anticipated indie albums of the summer, Phoebe Bridgers and This Is Lorelei, and our first tastes of both. We also got some fascinating lineup curation from Olivia Rodrigo, Turnstile, and Deftones, country music from The Killers, Brandon Flowers, and new music from Foxing Offshoot Smidley, PJ Harvey, and more. I'm Dave, I'm here with Andrew, and we talk about all this and more on this week's episode of BV Weekly. First of all, Andrew, are you up on this Cramp stuff?
Not really.
So it was recently announced that Henry Rollins of Black Flag and Rollins Band and Ian MacKaye of Minor Threat and Fugazi, not the Fugazi that was just announced, the Vans collaboration. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that actually. That's funny.
That was very confusing. But
yeah.
And Discord Records weighed in on Instagram, at least. They were like, this is not us. So Henry and Ian, longtime friends since they were little kids, joined forces with In the Red Records to help restore, reissue, and release unreleased and released material by the Cramps, starting with a long-lost Alex Chilton-produced album called Gravest Hits. Henry's also famously a massive record and memorabilia collector, and Henry and Ian are both big archivers who have both the fame and money to help them along with efforts like this. They both love the Cramps, so this project was right up their alley. Anyway, this first one, Gravest Hits, is coming out soon, and Henry is out there doing press, and he talked to Goldmine on the Goldmine Dollar Bin podcast. I highly recommend that interview. It's like over an hour of mostly Henry talking, because he likes to talk and he's great at talking, but it's like a super nerd. That podcast is about record collecting, and they just let him nerd out, and they nerded out in response. So it was a really great conversation, and definitely taught me a lot about what is happening with this Cramps reissue stuff.
Nice.
That's the Goldmine Dollar Bin podcast.
This is the second old punk reissue thing that Henry Rollins and Ian MacKaye have done with In the Red, right? Because they just did that Adverts one earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if we can expect more after this. I guess I didn't listen to the episode. I don't know if he talks about it, but I wonder if him and Ian are going to keep doing this. I don't know if he said or not.
Well, they're definitely going to keep doing a lot of Cramp stuff. There's like a long list of announced and unannounced records that are coming. He mentions multiple times on the podcast he can't reveal everything. They'll probably keep doing it as long as they can. It's a natural extension of what, like I kind of implied, that what Henry is, and he talks a lot about this on the podcast, but like it's a natural extension of his own collecting and archiving. So, and he recently moved to Nashville and he bought like a big place where I don't know is he going to open a museum in Nashville? Maybe. But he talks a lot about his climate controlled large.
See, that's what we need, a punk rock museum.
Well, apparently his house is basically a punk rock museum. So I don't know if he's going to open his house to the public is essentially what I'm saying here. And, he probably can't let people near his record collection, which is massive. Right. But he's got so much other memorabilia, original art, album art, stuff that like he's just collected so much stuff through the years. He keeps it all very climate controlled. And this is part, all right, now I'm giving spoilers on the Goldmine podcast, but it's part of how the Cramps thing started is, like I think the In the Red guy maybe lived near Ivy and he knew she had all this stuff in her garage. And for years they were talking about get this stuff into Henry's climate control. Henry is the guy. And so that finally happened. And while they were moving it, they were like, what's this? This is stuff that was never put out. And then it was able to be restored and taken off tape and blah, 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 all that. So it's really cool.
Nice.
So meanwhile, looking forward to that Cramps, but we've got two of the most anticipated indie albums of summer from much newer artists announced this week.
Yeah. So when This Is Lorelei signed to Matador, I think I may have said like, oh, if this, I actually thought maybe we'd have to wait till next year because just like announcing the signing without a song or anything, I was like, oh, maybe it's not ready yet. But no, we're getting the new album from This Is Lorelei, this singer in my band, this summer. And I think I had said like, if that drops this year, it's going to be one of my most anticipated albums of the year. And I'm gonna come to the new single, but I'm gonna start with some backstory for me personally, but also just for This Is Lorelei, what's been happening with him. If you're unfamiliar, this is Nate Amos's project. He's also a member of Water From Your Eyes, and he had been releasing solo music under the name This Is Lorelei for over a decade, just like lo-fi bedroom stuff on his Bandcamp. I mean, it's also on streaming services, but I think even before that, it's like a story we've seen a lot these past, 15 years, like Alex G, Car Seat Headrest, like these prolific band campers, right? And like, it wasn't a project that he ever really like fully dedicated himself to on like a more proper sense, I guess, until 2024's Box for Buddy. I always butcher it, but Box for Buddy, Box for Star, Box for Buddy, Buddy First. The 2024 record, which ended up being like a surprise breakthrough. It, has just caught the attention of some of the biggest and most loved names in indie because this year he put out a super deluxe edition where the entire record is covered by people like songs on it were covered by people like MJ Lunderman and Waxahachie and Haley Williams and Jeff Tweedy. I mean, it's like a who's who of multiple generations of alternative music, indie music. Cameron Winter's not on it, but he covered one of the songs live. So it's just like he's all of a sudden like your favorite songwriter's favorite songwriter, but also he's bigger than just that because he's blowing up now. And like he has a tour coming up where he's playing Webster Hall in New York, and that sold out right away. And he edited another show at the similarly sized Warsaw. So he's really blown up. In between the breakthrough record and the covers, he did a record called Hollow Boy, which is like properly studio recorded versions of a selection of songs from the lo-fi bedroom pop days. So it's just like, it feels like it's one of those things where the record was kind of a slow burner hit, and then the record just got more and more life breathed into it because of all these covers, because of the kind of like the stopgap re-recorded release. Like it just keeps growing, and it just makes the anticipation for the next thing he does so high. And so we get the first single this week, and it's one of those things where there's just so much riding on what is this first single going to sound like, because it's not fair to This Is Lorelei, like to put this on him. I mean, like it's not it's not his fault that the record just took off the way it did, but it just feels like one of those scenarios where either this single comes out and the excitement just gets propelled or a little bit stalled. Like, oh man, maybe that last album was like lightning struck, you know what I mean? And it won't strike twice. The new single, Billy Came Back, one of the most instantly satisfying This Is Lorelei songs that I've heard him put out. It is the absolute, it absolutely feels to me like it's the momentum keeps going. Like I'm so excited for this record. I'm more excited for it now having heard this song. I mean, I'll be honest, like I have heard the whole album. We won't talk about it yet. We'll wait for that. But so I don't want to like totally lie and act like, but I have heard the whole record. But this single I think is an excellent choice for lead single. It's just so instantly satisfying. It's like this jangly folk pop song, beautiful harmonies in the chorus.
Kind of, yeah, like you said, jangly, kind of an REM thing going on.
Yeah, totally. I think comparable to REM for sure. And it's cool, I think, too, because like with This Is Lorelei, that breakthrough record, you know, he doesn't really have like one genre of music. He just kind of does a lot of different things. And like on one hand, you know, like he's got that song Dancing in the Club, which was kind of a breakthrough track, which was this auto-tuned like indie pop song that was right, like...
But, well, not to cut you off, but to go back to what you were saying about how all these collaborations really helped propel him, that song in particular, the MJ Lenderman version, is what really felt like in 2025 brought so much attention to him. But it almost felt like MJ Lenderman was getting the credit for that when it first came out.
A little bit, but like I feel like then there's been like a backlash to that where some people are like, hey, you know, like the original is actually better.
Well, that was my backlash from day one, because I was like, no, this is a cover. This is not even whatever you call it, because then I'd already listened to the original version of that song a million times by the time the MJ one came out. But then the MJ one got Best New Music. The MJ one started entering my group chats, and I'm like, where were you a few months ago when this exact song already existed?
Right.
But so it's good because for a minute it felt like, okay, is this Lorelei getting more attention, or is just MJ Lenderman getting credit for this song? Since then,
well, and then like, you know, I can see though why someone would prefer one version or the other, right? Because again, the first song is like a ton of auto-tune, and it's got this like Postal Service meets Blink-182 thing going on. I could kind of see, and then MJ Lenderman's version is like this alt country song. So those are so stylistically different that like, if you prefer one of those styles over the other, like I could see someone being like, oh, I don't really like auto-tune, but I like this MJ Lenderman cover. And I could see somebody else being like, I like the original song because it's sort of so quirky, and the MJ Lenderman song like makes it a little bit too regular sounding. You know, I think those are like both sort of valid experiences to have with that track.
The good news is, yeah, I feel like that was a blip. That was a moment. And now This Is Lorelei, like you said, he sold out Webster Hall in 2 seconds. So it's like, that's just not even the narrative anymore.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, he got right. He got big on his own, like beyond. But I still think, though, that like, I'm just saying, if you prefer the MJ Lenderman version,
I get your point.
I get it. Yeah. But I think what was interesting is because he's like all these sort of various genres of music, like, and I'm wondering, like there are so many directions This Is Lorelei could go in, and he does have, you know, the cosigns from MJ Lenderman, from Waxahachie, from Jeff Tweedy. So there is sort of like, he has this presence in the kind of folkier country-ish world of indie music. I think it's cool that the new single from the record is kind of that also, because I mean, I'm obviously I'm very interested in that world right now, and it's very much popping off. And there's, you know, there's a lot of different stuff on this album, just like there's a lot of different stuff on the last album. But I think it's cool to hear This Is Lorelei put out a song that feels kind of that, because he had people like MJ Lenderman, Waxahachie, and Jeff Tweedy like kind of pushing for him to their fans. And so like if you came to him through them, I think you're really gonna like Billy Came Back, you know, if you haven't heard it already.
How many years till This Is Lorelei, till Nate is co-writing a Taylor Swift album?
I honestly, like, it feels like not out of the question.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already got Hayley Williams on your record, so she's, you know, toured with Taylor Swift, right? Or like done whatever. Yeah, it's Yeah, he's like it could be the next Aaron Dessner or something. Yeah, so the record is called The Singer of My Band, comes out on Matador. Nate did almost everything himself on it, but he has a banjo solo from his father, Bob Amos, who's a bluegrass musician. And he talked in the press release for the record about bluegrass being an influence on him. Not something you hear a lot about in the indie world, bluegrass, so that is fascinating. And then the only other two people on the record besides them are Nate's sister, Sarah. Sarah and Bob, Nate's father, had done one of the covers on the deluxe edition, the cover of Angel's Eye. And then Nate's partner, Al Nardo, who is in this Lorelei's live band and Fantasy of a Broken Heart. Al and Sarah do backing vocals. So, yeah. And then the other interesting thing is Nate, having come from the bedroom pop world, he calls this his first road album. His dad actually, he had this quote where he showed it to his dad, and his dad was like, "Oh, it's like an on the road beatnik album," and he was like, "That helped frame it differently for me." So again, a lot of the album was written when he was on tour with This Is Lorelei and Water From Your Eyes. So to go from literal bedroom pop to now this is his road album, that's another, I think, kind of thematic kind of noticeable change there. So an interesting thing to point out. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about this album.
So the question is, which collaboration will come first? This Is Lorelei and Phoebe Bridgers, or This Is Lorelei and Molly Tuttle?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I'd put my money on Molly Tuttle or Billy Strings. But before we get to Phoebe, though, I do want to also say that some of This Is Lorelei's tour is the opening band is @ it's the ampersand, no, not sorry, the @ symbol, like for email, but it's pronounced @ like the word. And they just announced their first album for 4AD this week. They also have tour dates with Yawa Nailgun, and the first single title track is this 7-minute folky song called Auto Smile, and I also think it is so good, easily one of the best songs released this week, I think. So that's an incredible pairing. This is Lorelei and @
I can back that incredible pairing because I have seen This Is Lorelei and @ live, and I saw @ first of all, horrible name, but I saw @
so bad.
Open for Jessica Pratt, rhymes. Amazing show, but @ really was so happy I got there early for them. That was at Bowery Ballroom a couple years ago, I think. They were really, really good. So it was really cool to see they now are on 4AD, one of the my most favorite legendary labels.
Yeah, This Is Lorelei touring their Matador debut with @ touring their 4AD debut.
Oh yeah, and those are
a real indie,
both Beggars labels.
Yeah, and also just wait, is Matador Beggars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Matador, and so is 4AD and XO.
Right. Well, 4AD I knew. For some reason I thought Matador wasn't. But it does, anyway, I trust you on this stuff. Okay. But it's I feel like it's this classic indie thing of, your headliners touring their Matador debut, opener touring their 4AD debut. That used to really mean something. And then there was an era where you were like, does that still mean something? And it still means something. So it's cool.
So Phoebe
finally announced her new album, first solo album in 6 years. Her last was Punisher back in 2020, back in the height of COVID lockdown. And then she did Boy Genius, but she's not done a solo record in over 6 years. And it's called Lost Weekend. Speaking of labels, it'll be out on Dead Oceans. Like we've said, I think we wondered if she would sign to a major. Boy Genius are on a major. She's still on Dead Oceans, and one of our favorite indie labels. And the first single is called Lost Boys, album Lost Weekend, single Lost Boys. I love this song. I mean, this is another one where if I'm saying the anticipation for This Is Lorelei is high, the anticipation for a new Phoebe is exponentially high. Not to compare or diss or anything, but just saying she's doing arenas. She's basically a pop star now, and it's been 6 years. So this is the anticipation is so huge and on such a massive level, far bigger than my brain can even comprehend. People have been waiting to hear a new Phoebe Bridgers song from a new Phoebe Bridgers album. And, she's coming off she has her first two records are two of the most beloved folky indie albums of the past decade. Boy Genius, also some of the most beloved folky indie music of the past decade. And, you know, the bar is high. And I just think this is honestly, like, with no exaggeration, I think it's one of the most instantly satisfying Phoebe songs that I've heard since I first heard her. Like, I remember being really taken by, you know, Killer and Georgia and these songs, like, early on, just being like, whoa, like, and then Motion Sickness came out and it was like, oh wow, even better. And then I got used to what she sounded like, so I was sort of not as surprised the next time she made an album. And this still sounds like she always sounds, pretty much. It's not surprising, but it's got this extra kick. The chorus is just extra anthemic. I think it's a great song.
Sadly, I've only heard it once, and it was through your phone, so I can't really weigh in, but I agree that it sounded like Phoebe. There was one funny little yell in the middle of the song, which I imagine I could picture that is going to become a popular moment at her live shows, almost scripted.
Yeah, it's like a 1, 2, 3, ah.
Yes,
and
it's just
like,
made.
right, it's like,
made.
Yeah,
I'm picturing it in the arenas she has coming up.
I can see the entire arena crowd yelling it. It's like a funny, like, Ramones thing, but in like a cheeky version of like the Ramones thing.
Yeah, I always have to bring everything back to Camp Cope. It's like the Show 'em Kelly or whatever moment in Camp Cope song.
Right, yeah, as I'm sure a lot of people will compare it to Camp Cope.
That's so. Oh, just wait. We're about to talk about Smidley. So yeah, go on.
It's got great horns, is the last thing I'll say about it.
Oh, speaking of Smidley, doesn't Foxing also have great horns?
Foxing has great horns. Wait, I will say one more thing, because we were talking about country and bluegrass. So we said we didn't attend those surprise shows she did. Amanda did. And people who were at those shows said that there's a country song on the album. This single is not the country song, but I'm really curious to hear it. So we're still waiting to hear the rumored Phoebe Bridgers country song. But meanwhile, we get Lost Boys, a classic sounding folky indie rock Phoebe Bridgers song at her most anthemic, and it's awesome. And Smidley.
So just to be clear, the song is called Lost Boys on an album called Lost Weekend.
Right.
Does every song start with Lost? What if every song starts with Lost?
Oh, yeah, right, because we don't know the track titles yet. Okay, so Phoebe is not the only Boy Genius member to release music on June 25th, 2026, because Lucy Dacus is on the new Smidley song, Smidley being the solo project of Foxing singer Connor Murphy, and the upcoming album Murphy Horse being Connor's first record since Foxing went on hiatus.
You know, what do they say about, like, that people are always like, Taylor Swift totally released a deluxe edition of her album today just to keep Billie Eilish out of the charts.
Right.
Smidley was like, Lucy, we're going live today. Yeah. Or did Phoebe do it? Was it Phoebe?
No, I think you're right. I think Connor Murphy was like, you know what? I got to steal Phoebe Bridgers' thunder.
Yes. But what's the Lucy aspect? But yeah, I mean, maybe Lucy.
Lucy told Connor, like, look, you know, we got to beat Phoebe. I'm saying we drop it the same day. Show them, you know.
Okay. And you know something's really going to be up if Julian Baker surprise releases a new single at midnight. Or, well, that'll already be live. You'll know while you're listening to this if that happens.
Right. I'm surprised she's not on the new Beabadoobee album, but we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, me and you are both big Smidley fans. But I think this
understatement.
Yeah, understatement. I mean, definitely. We're really, really big Smidley fans. Bigger.
So Andrew, of course, is one of the biggest Foxing stands in existence anywhere.
Given this week's discourse, let's not call me a stan of anything.
And
I don't prescribe to stan culture.
But I will own my Smidley standum.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a word?
So you were like, when Pitchfork didn't give Smidley Best New Music, you were like, you know, doxing the writer.
I hoped the basement they lived in would. Yeah. I hoped the basement they wrote in would collapse.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, problematic reference.
No. It's um, but so we're big Smidley fans. We'd always be excited to hear what Connor's doing. But the fact that this is the first record he's doing since Foxing went on hiatus, I think adds even more anticipation, because now, if you are a Foxing fan who was less up on Smidley's career, which Smidley has always been a little, has always been a little smaller. Now this is like your only chance to get new music from Connor. So I'd imagine there's going to be a little more eyes and ears on this. And I thought that the new single with Lucy Dacus was a song that would be really appealing to Foxing fans. I feel like it kind of had a little bit of the synth pop thing that Foxing were doing on Draw Down the Moon. I know that's kind of the black sheep Foxing album for some, but I think it's a great record, and definitely has some live staples. So I felt like the last Smidley record was some of the most experimental music Connor had done, and this single, it feels like he's kind of doing the poppier thing that has definitely led to some real Foxing crowd pleasers. So it makes me a little bit less sad that Foxing are on a hiatus, because I'm just excited about what he's doing right now, so I can't be sad about what he isn't doing.
And I'm more happy they're on hiatus, so I can get as much Smidley as possible. But I think what is interesting, one of the narratives with Foxing was they never got as big as they should have or wished they did, which I think there's no secret there, or they expected to. And so when they went on, quote, hiatus or broke up or whatever it was, you always get the sense that Foxing is is finally going to give up because they didn't reach those heights. But Smidley, at least, I don't know what Connor was thinking with each Smidley album, but it's at least always felt like a side project because Foxing still existed, right? So when Foxing broke up, I thought not only
went on hiatus.
Okay, when Foxing went on hiatus, it felt a little bit like, all right, we're going to give this thing a rest. We're still not where we want to be, but also Connor got married and had a kid, right?
Definitely got married.
He definitely got married. I don't remember if he had a kid. All right. So it felt like that's it. I'm done. I'm going to dedicate some time to my family, do something else. So it was almost like a surprise when not long after that, we didn't know about the album yet, but tour dates started showing up, and not just tour dates, but opening dates on a Lucy Dacus tour, which is, I think those are still coming up. So it seemed a little random.
And he's opening part of Rat Boys tour.
Right. And so maybe Rat Boys slightly less random, but it definitely felt like...
definitely less random, because Rat Boys opened Foxing's Nearer My God tour.
Yeah, exactly. I figured something like that.
Now, I feel like Rat Boys are for sure the bigger band at this point, even than Foxing. So, very cool to see them returning the favor. And even Lucy, because again, Lucy is the one Boy Genius member who I don't think was ever tied to emo. Julian and Phoebe were. But, these were all in the same orbit much earlier on in their careers. So to see Lucy, who has, as a member of Boy Genius, headlined an arena, put on for Connor Murphy's solo project, very, very cool, I think.
It's cool, but also it felt super random because you can just...
I don't know. I don't think it feels random. I think it feels
it felt randomly announced.
It feels like working with a longtime peer. And
especially before we knew there was going to be a new Smidley album, and when it was announced, and Foxing is supposed to be on hiatus, and all of a sudden Smidley, who lives in St. Louis, is that right, is suddenly opening
I believe that
for Lucy Dacus on the Jersey Shore. Asbury Park, that's one of the dates. Stone Pony outside, maybe.
Well, sometimes when you go on hiatus, you realize you miss touring.
Well, that's what I partially wondered too. But then this album came out, got announced, and the first single has Lucy on it. Makes so much less random now. But also, the tour, the thing, it does feel like Smidley is going for it again a little bit. I mean, it's not like the Smidley album's on a major label or anything, but it definitely now feels like a thing. It's not just a random side project with a few tour dates to support it.
Right. I mean, again, without Foxing existing, it's not a side project at all. It's the only project. And it's not on a major label, but it is on Royal Mountain Records, which is, an established label.
Yeah. So will Smidley be the next This Is Lorelei? That's what I'm hoping here.
Hey, to go back to your Foxy narrative, I'm, one day everything that Connor Murphy and Eric Hudson and all those people have done is all going to get their due. But I will just say though that I think Foxing no longer felt, well, I think when they did that last album, like the screamo-y self-titled record, I think is when they were like more at peace with, we're not going to break through the ceiling that we have felt is above our heads for a while. We're just going to like make music we like for people who like it and not worry as much. And then it like ended up somehow becoming the biggest record they'd done since their debut. When they like stopped shooting for the stars. So I think that it's kind of a neat ending to hopefully just the first chapter of their career. Hopefully the hiatus ends one day. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pushing back on their narrative that their breakup had anything to do with not getting big enough, unless it may be just the like real life factors of we don't make enough money to do this and also start families. So we need to take a break.
No, that's fine. And I mean, there's another cynical narrative, which is you got to break up for 5 years so that when you reunite, then you sell more tickets.
What they got to do
kind of a
is
proven strategy.
Yeah, make a live album DVD of their final show and promote it for 4 years straight, and then just come back and
Exactly. Although their final show wasn't at Madison Square Garden.
No. It was like, although they did do hometown final shows that I think were a little bigger, but yeah, they didn't milk it like other bands have done. So should we talk about the crazy curation of the week?
Yeah, I mean, indie is so back, and sorry that this is Lorelei, Phoebe Bridgers, and this week was so huge, and with
this was a
announcements
big week for indie music, yeah,
and just even related less indie music, but we could barely keep up with the amount of song and tour and emo tour announcements. It was just out of control. We'll get to a lot of that, but one theme we saw is a lot of people with great openers and guests on their albums.
Yeah, it was just coincidental, I'm sure, that this all happened in 1 week. But like the first thing was Olivia Rodrigo announced her own festival, Daisy Chain Fields. It's in Irvine, California. It's a festival. It only holds about 10,000 people. It sold right out. But she said she was inspired by Lilith Fair, and the entire lineup is women. And it's just an incredible lineup. I mean, we love talking on our show about how Olivia uses her platform as a massive pop star to put on for like the more alternative music she likes. And this lineup does that. And it spans so many generations. It's got Bikini Kill, Chapel Roan, Die Spitz, Doechii, Garbage, Mitski, Santigold, The Breeders, special guest billings from Lilith Fair's own Sarah McLachlan, as well as Karen Ovniaz and Stevie Nicks, and others as well. And it's not just alternative stuff, because there's like Cat's Eye and Eli in there, like repping like a more sort of bubblegummy pop thing. And I think that's cool too, because it's just like, you're having Bikini Kill in the same lineup as like just like teen dance pop. And I bet, okay, tangent. With everybody talking about poptimism on social media this week, I think one of the things that I liked about poptimism when it started was you never know where you're going to get great music from. To me, being a person who focuses on indie and punk and stuff like that, and realizing how good like a Beyonce album is or something, that is sort of, to you, the indie person, that's as much of a surprising discovery as when someone who listens to the radio finds Bikini Kill,
So you're basically saying you're hoping that a Cat's Eye fan will walk away a Bikini Kill fan after this festival?
I mean, yeah, basically. But I also am saying that, maybe a Breeders Bikini Kill Garbage fan, they're like, that's enough for me, I'm going, and they walk away liking Doechii.
which is, not, I mean, I think what Olivia's doing is very cool, but I just saw, was it Jenny? 1 second after seeing Geese and Fuckers at Govball. So there's some of that already on festivals these days.
Yeah, but I guess this just feels so highly curated. Like at Govball.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah. Like it's like at a regular festival, you might just go skip the things that aren't your vibe. But this feels like, because Olivia is curating it and Olivia's fans have so much trust in her, they are probably like giving her the credit of like, I want to see these artists that you think I should see.
I hope that's how it plays out. And by the way, very cool that Bikini Kill were listed first on the flyer.
It's in alphabetical order.
I know. I was getting there. But when you first see that, and I was like, oh, she put Bikini Kill first. She put herself like in the middle. And I was like, oh yeah, it's alphabetical. But still,
but it's
were
very
they like
egalitarian to do it that way?
Whatever, whether they purposely put it in alphabetical to have Bikini Kill first or just that worked out that way, that is very cool. But I just hope, like you said, this place, at least according to Google, this place only holds about 10,000 people, which is insane.
Right, because that's actually small for an Olivia Rodrigo headlining show.
Understatement. That's small for that's insanely small for an Olivia Rodrigo headlining small show, but that's also insanely small for a Chappell Roan headlining show. That's also insanely small for Cat's Eye's headlining show, right? What are they playing now? They're an arena group.
Yeah, I don't know, but probably. I mean, they're huge.
And I mean, our Chappell and Olivia stadium acts. So Cat's Eye might be a stadium act. I don't know. But Stevie Nicks is an arena act. Yeah. Sarah McLachlan might be an arena or has been an arena act. I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe in the
these
past.
Days. But Mitski is an arena act at this point.
Right.
Doechii is an arena. Maybe an arena.
No,
act.
it's definitely like it's an intimate show for half the lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just hope especially with scalping or however this ends up happening, that's just not like 10,000 really rich Cat's Eye fans who each spent like $1,000 on tickets on the secondary market and who can care less about a single other thing. And
I would be more prone to assume that it's 10,000 rich Olivia Rodrigo fans who could care less about the rest of the lineup. Like except for probably Chappell Roan. I would imagine most Olivia fans like Chappell Roan, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But it's just so cool. It just backs up that Olivia is the coolest pop star, and it is like it just feels so genuine too. Like sometimes you see festivals that are quote unquote curated by a famous person, and you're like, did they really curate it though? And this feels curated by her. It feels like a mood board for like her own music, and it's just perfect. And a day or two later, Turnstile announced another insanely curated thing. Turnstile are going on tour again this fall, late summer into fall, and every single stop has a different support lineup, and the artists playing are just nuts. You have every generation of hardcore on there, including Agnostic Front, Hatebreed, new Screamo band February, bands who are so specifically of the era that Turnstile themselves and the members in on their other bands like came up either playing shows with and or like, maybe going to see like Terror and Cold World and Trash Talk and Ceremony. And then you have their longtime friends and longtime related band, although less related these days, Angel Dust. You have Fiddlehead, again, longtime peers, Have Heart. And then you've got like outside of Heart and Haywire, the fastest rising hardcore band. And then outside of that, you have Slater, who would just as well work on that Olivia Rodrigo fest. You have Vince Staples and Clipse and High Tech holding it down for hip hop. You have electronic music from Mall Grab, who have remixed Turnstile before. You have reunited emo legends. Texas is the Reason. There's Eves Tumor, Thundercat, Porches, Nourished by Time. Pennywise are there, which is like surprising and cool. Boy Harsher, Julie, Die Spitz again, who is on the Olivia thing. Collateral, a new hardcore band. King's Command. I think I've now named everyone. I'm looking at it, but wow. I mean, like, I can't even imagine just like putting this all together, right? Like mapping this tour out in such a way where all these artists were available on these for one date when they're all probably also touring. Like, that just must have been such an undertaking on like a purely like, there's a word that's on the tip of my tongue, but like, just like a planning perspective. That's not the word.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just logistically, this seems insane.
And all right, you got to give a shout out to Drain. Let's who have done something close to this before. Turnstile, another band who could have been on opening dates on this tour.
No disrespect, but what did Drain do that was close to this?
I don't have it in front of me, but Drain, like a year or two ago, definitely announced some insane thing. I think kind of another band, hardcore adjacent, that did something sort of like this recently, Spiritual Cramp. I mean, on a much smaller level. It's not totally unheard. I'm not taking anything away from Turnstile, especially doing it on this level.
I think that there's nothing that's like this that I've seen. So I think it's downplaying it to say that anyone has done something like this.
And then, this is not unheard of from Turnstile. When you see that, like, Nourished by Time, and Turnstile's been doing the multi-genre opener thing, kind of cool indie band, like Porches. They've had Blood Orange. Well, even on the album, I saw Special Interest. That's who I'm thinking of. Beach Fossils. They had Jane Remover open. So like that kind of indie pop R&B diverse type of lineup is something we've seen from them a bunch.
Yeah, they've been doing genre diverse lineups for a while, but this tour was like, when they did the first tour behind Never Enough, we talked about how it was so perfectly curated because it had Mannequin Pussy and Speed, which just felt like possibly the two best bands to open for Turnstile. And Jane Remover was on that tour as well, but I think those two really resonated, at least with us. And then there was, Jane Remover. And it's just like, okay, how do you top that? And then this is like, they were like, how do we one up ourselves? Okay, here's how. We do a different lineup in every city. We get like 30 artists total, and we span more genres in one tour than we've ever spanned, and that maybe any other band in our world has ever spanned. And again, while doing this, while having literally pop music, hip hop, indie music, still having so much connection to the hardcore scene. I mean, to put Agnostic Front and Hatebreed and Cold World on this tour, like you can't accuse Turnstile of any of the things people try to accuse them of when it comes to like, are they putting on for the scene? Or like they're putting on for more than anyone is putting on for.
Okay. So I was going to bring that up too. In the past, when they did like non-hardcore openers, they got accused of not putting on for the scene. And at the time, I didn't necessarily agree, but now I have a new narrative now. Now I'm worried. Now it's been so long since Turnstile have been like a purely hardcore band. I'm actually worried for the hardcore bands on this bill. Now I think we were like, oh, Turnstile, at some point we're like, Turnstile's the only hardcore band on this major pop festival. Now I'm wondering if Turnstile fit more in with the non-hardcore bands than the hardcore bands, at least from who's going to show up for these shows perspective. Like, is Agnostic Front actually going to go over well opening for a Turnstile show in 2026?
I think you have to give credit to Turnstile's fan base. And, this is still a band, no matter what. This is still a band that plays high-speed, hardcore punk songs that multiple mosh pits at once break out to. So no matter what Turnstile have, no matter like how diverse their fan base has become in terms of what other music their fans may listen to, because are Turnstile probably the only hardcore band that thousands of people listen to? I would imagine yes. And then, are they a hardcore band? But like those people who don't listen to a second hardcore band are there loving when Turnstile play these Bad Brainsy songs. And then they're going to see Cold World, whose live show is ridiculous. They're going to see Terror, whose live show is ridiculous. Trash Talk, who have also famously succeeded on hip hop tours for longer than Turnstile were doing that.
I'm less worried about trash talk for reasons you mentioned than I am for like Cold World, let's say. But
okay, but I'm just saying, I think if those people see Cold World, whose live show is awesome, they're going to be like, whoa, that was cool. I didn't know this band. I don't think there's going to be, it's not like, again, I still think Turnstile fan base sees them as a punk band more or less, and I also think that what Turnstile and Knocked Loose prove by succeeding on these festivals where they are the only band causing mosh pits is that people like that stuff and maybe don't always know where to look for it. So I just think I would, if I'm betting, which I'm not, but I'm putting money on people walk away being like, oh, I really like Cold World. I hadn't heard them. Or, oh, I really like Hatebreed. I hadn't heard them. Like, I think that's what's going to happen.
Two last points from me on this. It is funny how different each stop is, but they're not all totally different. Like Die Spitz is opening 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 shows, and the Cold World is opening both in Florida. You know, I'm sure they're like really good friends with Cold World. I wonder if they were like, what if we all vacationed in Florida together? But
yeah, maybe, honestly.
Yeah, it's also funny how they some shows like the Tampa, Florida show is Turnstile, Hatebreed, and Cold World. Literally, I think, didn't FYA end up happening in Tampa? Did it move to?
Oh, right.
It that looks like an FYA lineup, right? Like Turnstile
FYA would be so lucky. But yeah,
FYA would be lucky now to have Turnstile, but Turnstile, Hatebreed, and Cold World. Turnstile being huge aside, there's a FYA lineup. Whereas go down to, let's see, Slater, Die Spitz, and Turnstile. That's a Govball lineup.
Right.
So it's funny how they differ.
And Kansas City is so lucky to get Turnstile, Slater, Die Spitz.
And then Oklahoma City is like just Die Spitz, at least for now, unless they're planning on adding someone.
Right.
And then that's just like a Turnstile show with a buzzy, well-matched opener.
I think we're very lucky in New York, by the way, to get Clipse and Julie. That's a great Turnstile and Clipse. For me personally, was like a dream come true matchup. I texted a friend who also was like, two of my favorite artists on a genre crossing bill that I never expected to see. Oh my God.
Yeah, the fact that they grabbed Clipse, that's maybe the best get on this whole thing. Most impressive get on this whole thing.
Clipse and Slater stand out to me as the most impressive. But also, I mean, Milwaukee gets Turnstile, Texas, The Reason, Haywire. What a show.
That's the one I want to fly to. Yeah.
I want to follow this tour on the road like Grateful Dead. Turnstile's going to play the same set every night, unlike the Grateful Dead. But just with these openers, like, I mean, if you followed this show on tour, you would have a completely different experience night after night after night. And I'm not going to do it, but I really want to. And not just because I really like Turnstile.
You know who's not? So, like we said, this week was never ending. You know who's not opening any of the shows is Mannequin Pussy or Wednesday, or you just mentioned Mannequin Pussy half open and vast. But it was kind of mind blowing when we also got a Mannequin Pussy Wednesday Snooper tour announced.
Right. Co-headlining for Mannequin Pussy and Wednesday, which is perfect.
Which is so cool. And they're both bands, the 2 years that Emo Fest, Best Friends Forever happened in Las Vegas, where I did also see Texas is the Reason, and February, who are opening for Turnstile play. 1 year, Mannequin Pussy played on the smaller stage at Best Friends Forever, and 1 year Wednesday did. And they were both like super standout sets of modern bands who were not reunited emo bands on this festival.
Not emo bands at all.
Yes. So then and two of our favorite newer bands, who just both put on an amazing live show, and Snooper as well. So yeah, that's such a exciting tour. Of course, it's not playing in New York City,
right. But that's just go ahead.
No, they don't need to tour together in New York City. That's why they're like, why would we waste our time co-headlining when we can both play big venues? But yeah, go ahead.
Right. No, I was just going to say that's just a great co-headlining tour as like a side note to our little narrative here. But I'm going to bring up the next artist curated lineup, which this one, the Deftones announced their Dia de los Deftones lineup for 2026. It's their 7th annual. This one, unlike Turnstile, Olivia and Turnstile both did something they've never done before. Obviously, this is the 7th time Deftones have done this, so we expect a cool lineup from Deftones. But just because it came the same week, it's hard not to think about it. But Deftones are doing Dia de los Deftones, and this year they have AFI, Converge, BK the Rula, Lip Critic, Jenny Beth of Savages, Lust Sick Puppy, some other stuff. Cool as always. I love the idea that you can see Deftones, AFI, and Converge on the same show. That for me is it would be enough to get me to fly to San Diego, even though I'm not going to do it, but I would do it for those three. And then I love that Lip Critic are. I feel like this new record for Lip Critic is elevating them a little bit, and them being on Deftones Fest this year, like, is making me think Deftones agree with that and making me feel validated.
You know who played Dia de los Deftones last year? Clipse.
Yeah, right. I was thinking about that. Yeah, no, it's like there. I mean, there is, again, like there's both Olivia and Turnstile have Die Spitz. Deftones, Turnstile have booked at least one artist that played Deftones Festival in the past. And that kind of leads us to beabadoobee's new album, which has a ridiculous list of contributors, including Deftones' Chino Moreno, Turnstile's Brendan Yates, Hayley Williams from Paramore, who is on Turnstile's record and sung with Deftones on stage the same year that she sung with Turnstile on stage and was on their record. Title Fight's Shane Moran. Fun fact, Title Fight's last show that they played before disappearing was with Turnstile on Long Island. And King 9, I think, played. Pine Grove's Evan Stevens Hall, the 1975's Matty Healy and George Daniel, and basement vocalist Andrew Fisher. All these people are on beabadoobee's new record. I mean, that just sounds like, first of all, beabadoobee must have the exact same taste in music as me. And she's like, let me just go get all my favorites on a record. But it also happens to be like so relevant, such a vibe. Right? I feel like the Paramore, Turnstile, Deftones trifecta is like kind of such a thing. Then you toss Title Fight in the mix. I mean, you're just showing off.
It's impressive that they all said yes, but it should be noted that she also just announced her first arena tour. So this is a very big and powerful artist. A lot of artists would probably die to have a feature on an artist's that big's album that's resonating so strongly with so many fans. Rock, and it's a rock. She's a rock artist as well. So they all kind of fit in.
You're more of a cynic than me, but I would imagine my take is they probably all like the music.
I didn't say they all just took the money.
It's true. You didn't. But but yeah, I mean, I imagine they all like the music. It's an amazing cast. I can't wait to hear the whole record. And the tour has support from Wisp, the rising shoegaze artists who have also, I think, played Deftones Festival or definitely opened.
Oh yeah, for sure.
One of those System of a Down shows, maybe even the ones with Deftones. And then Violet Grohl, who, I mean, I'm just surprised that she has an in with the alt rock world, but now I'm being cynical.
Violet Grohl also is on tour with the Breeders right now, who played in New York City last night, which
I mean, Violet Grohl has probably known the Breeders since she was like 3 years old. Like,
totally
personally known the members, I mean.
yeah, no, absolutely. But Bill went to the Breeders show last night. He said it was amazing. There's nice at Pier 17 here in New York City. It was a nice night for that. And but he missed Violet Grohl because he was actually with me while she was played. I should have mentioned this earlier. I was actually seeing a show inside CBGB's last night. It was
inside CBGB's.
Yeah, like the actual CBGB, which is now the John Varvatos store. Last night they had a Mystery Lights show inside the store, and I was there. Bill was there. Bill didn't actually get to see Mystery Lights because he had to run before they went on to make it to see the Breeders, but that did cause him to miss Violet Grohl. So where were we?
I think we were just wrapping up talking about beabadoobee's album. Should we move on to some other stuff?
You want to talk about new albums?
Sure. I mean, I don't have a ton to say, but there's a handful of new records out this week.
I don't know if we call it an album, but one of Turnstile's openers has a new EP, which I've had the new single on repeat since it came out a few days ago.
The whole EP is awesome. You're talking about Fiddlehead. It's just 3 songs and it just sounds so substantial. And like, I feel like it opens doors for the band, like to go in new directions. Like the title track that you're talking about is like this slower burning song that we never would have heard from Fiddlehead before. Also really cool to me. They recorded the album with Alex Farrar, who does like all the MJ Linderman and Wednesday records. Apparently he just reached out to the band and was like, I'd love to record you at some point. And they were like, oh, we may as well go outside of our comfort zone and record with someone totally new in a totally different state than we've recorded in before. And I can't help but wonder if like, you know, it sounds a little looser. The sound sounds a little more opened up, and maybe, you know, that might have something to do with recording with somebody who doesn't usually record like hardcore and post-hardcore bands and stuff.
I love that. And another thing I like about Fiddlehead going in a slightly different direction is over the past couple years, there's been so many newer bands, or sometimes not necessarily newer bands, that I'm thinking sound like Fiddlehead. And it's just this kind of like, you know, as far as like the hardcore adjacent scene, you have like the bands that have risen to the top: Drug Church, Fiddlehead, Angel Dust, High Vis, Military Gun. And so there's a lot of other bands. So I'm often like, that sounds like Fiddlehead. That sounds like Angel Dust. That sounds like High Vis and Drug Church. The Fiddlehead thing happens a lot. So for Fiddlehead to not sound exactly like Fiddlehead on this new song was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's a great one. Today we get the new Truck Violence record, their first for the Flenser. Really good if you like Chat Pile, Bleach Era Nirvana, Melvins, Jesus Lizard. Downtown Boys have actually not released an album in 9 years, but they're back, and the record rips, I think. It's got everything from like classic angsty punk to really melodic post-punk stuff. There's a Maxo Cream record entirely produced by JPEG Mafia. It's who has also toured with Turnstile, JPEG Mafia. It's a short but sweet 9-song record. Amy Rose Mills, who plays guitar in Couch Slut, who are an abrasive noise rock band, has released a haunting, bare bones, folky album, much different than Couch Slut, but in the same world of just dark music. River Shook. So Sarah Shook and the Disarmers broke up last year, but River, the singer, has jumped right into making a solo record with their partner and Disarmers bandmate as the other. It's just the two of them, and it's great, alt country stuff. And 2 hip hop records. Well, Maxo Cream, 3 hip hop records, but 2 others. There's a new Benny the Butcher EP. It's The Plugs I Met 2.5, and then oh man, I should have looked up pronunciation. I don't know if it's Jada C or Jada Cia, but the UK rapper on Mike's label has a cool trippy record out. You read about all those and notable releases on BrooklynVegan.com and in Bill's Indie Basement on BrooklynVegan.com. Indie Basement. Bill writes about Beth Orton, the Hobnobs, and Brutalismus 3000, if that's pronounced right. Meanwhile, it was also a really big week for, outside of This Is Lorelei and Phoebe Bridgers, a big week for new album announcements, new singles, not just them. We're always talking about everybody going country, and who's going country now? The Killer's Brandon Flowers. He has a new album coming out. It's a country album. The first song is called Plans. It's out now. It is indeed very country. He says it's a country album, and this is the first song we've heard. It's indeed very country, in a sort of a vintage honky-tonk kind of way, a little bit different than what some of the more like alt country type people are doing. So Brandon Flowers going country. PJ Harvey released the new song Voyager, recorded with an orchestra, and has a new album in the works. Julia Holter announced her new album Materia, shared the single Fantasy. It's an ethereal song that sounds like classic Julia Holter. Chelsea Wolfe put out 2 new songs that find her back in haunted folk mode after going synthy trip pop on her last album, getting Julia Holter and Chelsea Wolfe back to back the same week, both releasing songs that remind me of when they both came up around the same era. It's kind of a fun thing. Brennan Weedle, another one I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, announced a self-titled record co-produced by Waxahachie's Katie Crutchfield and frequent Waxahachie collaborator Brad Cook. And the grungy lead single Pretty Little Fantasy is out now. It's another one I recommend. I like it a lot. We finally got to hear one of the two songs on the Rolling Stones album that Olivia Rodrigo collaborator Robert Smith of The Cure plays on. It's called Divine Intervention, and it's a 70s style Stones boogie rocker. Robert plays guitar on it, but you probably wouldn't notice. It's just one of those famous people in the liner notes type things.
The Rolling Stones trying to catch a younger audience there with
with Robert
young
Smith.
and Robert Smith.
Rolling Stones are trying to catch a younger audience with their music videos, having already done music videos with Sydney Sweeney and Odessa Azion. The new video for Jealous Lover has Anya Taylor-Joy and Charles Melton. So they love to get these, super like popular young actors and actresses in their videos.
I want to ask, because we talk a lot about how it's great when a younger artist, like when Olivia puts on Robert Smith. This is great for The Cure, introducing them to newer audiences. Are people actually trying to capture older audiences? Right? Is Olivia Rodrigo trying to get older people into her shows? Like, probably it wouldn't make a difference, but she's doing it anyway. But then it keeps happening. So, like, I guess I don't fully think Olivia is trying to do that, even though it's working. Olivia Rodrigo has amazingly roped in older people because of the kind of music she's making and the people she collaborates with. But, then I see the beabadoobee.
Beat. Now you threw me off. It's not that hard to say. It's exactly how it's spelled, but it's
but I'm trying to do it from memory.
Beabadoobee.
Beabadoobee. She's got a lot of artists on the new album from previous generations. Is she looking for older fans or just shining some light on younger people? Everyone going country. They trying to get older fans?
You don't think country has young fans?
Nope.
The country? No, they're not. Country's not an age thing. It's like you're trying to get fans of country music. It's like the country is one of the biggest styles of music in America, but not in the urban areas that hip indie music is popular in. You're, again, being more the cynic than me. I think Olivia Rodrigo is obviously happy to have older fans like her by having people like Bikini Kill and Garbage and the Breeders on her festival. But I also think she probably just likes that music. And I think beabadoobee probably likes Title Fight, Turnstile, Paramore, and Deftones. Her new song sounds like a 90s alt-rock song. Olivia Rodrigo's music sounds like 80s new wave now. It used to sound like 90s alt-rock. Like, I think... Yes, absolutely. These younger artists are benefiting from getting older generations to hear something familiar in their music. But I feel like they're just making the music they like, which, isn't it the same thing as when like Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah was influenced by David Byrne and Bowie and then getting co-signed by those people?
I don't know that I'm disagreeing with your ultimate point.
Arcade Fire getting David Bowie on a song, which has happened, right, is the same distance in time as like beabadoobee getting Deftones, Paramore singers on a song. Like, that's the music they were influenced by, and then it caught the ear of the actual person influenced them, and then they collaborated. And now we are so far into the future that Deftones are a 30-year-old band and Paramore is a 20-year-old band, and a new artist is like as far removed from that music as Arcade Fire and Clap Your Hands Say Yeah was removed from the Bowies and the Burns and all that stuff that they were tapping into. And it's just the music they like, the music they're reviving. It's just the standard, 20-ish year nostalgia cycle.
I need to get back to you on the exact comparison, but I hear you on all that.
All right. Well, I'll keep going then. We also got new album announcements this week from Russian Circles, The Jayhawks, Storefront Church, Frankie Rose, The Tubbs, Jim James, Blanchel Bodegas, and Swap Meet. Plus, Martha Skye Murphy and Roy Montgomery announced a collaborative album. Queercore veterans Team Dresch announced their first album in 30 years. And last but not least, Carly Rae Jepsen announced a double album. Now, you want to tell us about the 100,000 tours announced this week?
Why, yes, I do. Well, one thing about the Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, just to use them as an example, or even Arcade Fire at the time, those were not mainstream. That when Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, and Arcade Fire got co-signs by David Byrne and Arcade Fire, they were like at most playing Central Park Summer Stage, free shows, or whatever it was. That was like these legends latching on or appreciating like up and coming indie bands, whereas beabadoobee is announcing these on her fourth album on like a major label when she's already big enough to headline arenas. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think maybe we're making different points, but I don't think the size of the artist changes like the concept of who you want to work with and what music you're interested in and want to show your fans. And I don't know.
Let's talk about some tours.
All right.
Bright Eyes announced another new tour, and this one features a reunion from Bright Eyes related band Lullaby for the Working Class, also a Cursive related band Lullaby for the Working Class. The B-52s and Devo are still going. By the way, these are going to be the first Lullaby for the Working Class show since the 90s, I think.
I thought it was 16 years.
Was it?
That's what I remember.
Yeah, right. There was one single show in 2010. Nothing since, and that was their first show since 1999 at the time.
Okay.
And I don't know what the lineups were, but okay. What else? The B-52s and Devo are still going, despite both announcing farewells, and they've announced another leg of their Cosmic De-Evolution tour happening this fall. Like I said earlier, it was a big week for emo-packed tour announcements, including Hot Mulligan, One Step Closer, Riley, Wakely, Free Throw, Microwave Carly, Cosgrove, This Is Hard to Read, with Kerosene Heights and other openers.
You should have let me take this one.
Take it.
It was the week of emo package tour announcements, including Hot Mulligan, One Step Closer, Riley, Wakely, Free Throw, Microwave, Carly Cosgrove, with Kerosene Heights and other openers on select dates, Maxiel, Ben Quad, Aren't We Amphibians, Arm's Length doing a co-headlining run with Holding Absence, and Senses Fail playing Still Searching in full for its 20th anniversary with two great newer bands opening, Koyo and Initiate. And then the formerly emo band Turnover announced an amazing tour lineup with support from Nothing and Trauma Ray. That's very cool. As far as cool combos go, I think Turnover, Nothing, Trauma Ray.
Upcoming book Emo Revival by Andrew Sacher on pre-order now.
Oh, I almost said that when you were talking about the foxing narrative.
Soulwax has announced their first U.S. tour in a very long time, though it's just West Coast dates so far. Mike D of the Beastie Boys has announced 5 new East Coast tour dates in support of his new solo album that's out in August. We got tour announcements from Brian Fallon of the Gaslight Anthem, who has a new album coming, Geordie Greep of Black Midi, Ezra Collective, Yard Act dates with The Armed, Pennywise, who are on one of the Turnstile dates, as we said, Raven Lene with Nourished by Time, who are on one of the Turnstile dates, and others, and other openers for Raven Lene. The Pennywise tour also has openers that vary by date, but all are with H2O. The 2 New York City shows are also with Dopamines and DFL. And if you didn't get tickets to those shows when they were on Brooklyn Vegan presale on Thursday, they should be on general sale now. Circle Jerks, Angel Dust, and Murphy's Law also open other dates. Angel Dust, also a Turnstile opener. There was, and Circle Jerks were on something else. Oh, they're on CBGB's Fest coming up, which just announced its stage by stage lineup. Circle Jerks and Mannequin Pussy both on that, with Morrissey, who we'll get to more on in a second. And there was some Murphy's Law drama just now too. Some Murphy's Law show like 2 nights ago didn't happen because of violence in the parking lot. There's a statement that's been floating around social media. I didn't actually figure out what exactly happened. Get to some more news.
Yes.
We want to say rest in peace to legendary music executive Clive Davis, who died this week at 94 years old. Bruce Springsteen paid his respects with this statement. Over here on East Street, we mourn the death of the great record man and close friend Clive Davis. At 22 years old, he changed my life when he signed me to Columbia Records. He treated me with the same respect and kindness as a 22-year-old nobody as he did after all my success. A great man, all our prayers and love. More sad news. Sad New York City related show news. Goose fan Paul Kuker fell, or as the New York Post is reporting, possibly jumped to his death at one of the jam band's 2 Madison Square Garden shows this week. You may have seen the video of the band paying tribute to him to open their Central Park show, which they added that Central Park show really last minute. In addition to those 2 MSG shows, they opened it with a little speech and moment of silence. I said I would talk about Morrissey. Smith's guitarist Johnny Marr is auctioning off nearly 100 guitars, including ones he played with Billie Eilish and the Smiths, which is very cool.
Billie Eilish?
Yes.
I didn't know they played together, or I forgot. But go on.
Johnny Marr is also in the news due to Morrissey coming after him in response to a new BBC Smiths documentary that Morrissey was allegedly not invited to be part of, which is one of many gripes Morrissey listed in a now deleted statement that criticized Marr and included this quote: "The Smiths was my voice, my lyrics, my song titles, my album titles, my single and album artwork, my vision, my vocal melodies, my emotions, nobody else's. When the Guardians say that they love the Smiths but hate Morrissey, it's like saying we hate David Bowie but we love the spiders from Mars." You can find the rest of that now deleted statement that Morrissey had up on his website elsewhere on the internet. You know, we never talked about the Banana Man incident here on BV Weekly, but you've probably heard about it. And it involved the hardcore band End It, who we love very much. End It vocalist Akil Godsey has now, quote, broken his silence. That's what a lot of people are calling it, on the Banana Man incident, with a post on social media with this caption: "Thanks for the racism and death threats and dissertations. It's all been very taxing. I'm going to go raise my child now. Peace." He released this statement. The funniest thing to come out of all of this is people telling me they were disappointed in me when the first song I ever wrote for this band is called Give Up, which is where I instruct people to walk into the woods to commit suicide. You've obviously not been listening to the band, and I don't know what the fuck you thought was going on over here. We're in a hardcore band. We do hardcore things. You don't have to come over here. You don't have to pay attention to me at fucking all. Everyone in my life loves me very much. I'm very well taken care of. I do not need your attention or validation. I'll be just fine. Hey, if the band got to quit, so be it. I guess I'll go to work. I'm a fully functioning adult male. I'll be just fine. There's more to life than whatever the fuck you think is going on over here. You don't even know what's going on over here. We haven't spoken in ages. You're living off assumptions. Don't assume my parents taught me that. But have fun with the life you've made for yourself." Sorry, I was hopefully I was not attempting to do an imitation, but if any of that sounded a little weird, that was not a written statement. That was a transcribed statement. You can go watch him say it on his Instagram. Anyway, Ended have continued to play shows, I've noticed, even though, like, broken the silence thing implied, they were kind of quiet after all that happened, and they got a lot of attention due to the whole Banana Man thing.
I'm just going to say that my take is, regardless of genre, you should not show up to a concert dressed as a banana.
You should also not show up to a Metallica concert if you're Kirk Hammett of Metallica in a t-shirt saying Taylor Swift is a CIA psyop, because that's exactly what he did approximately one show before he then fell off the stage while playing as a member of Metallica. Head to the Brooklyn Vegan shop to pre-order the new Phoebe Bridgers album and our exclusive variant, did we mention, of that new This Is Lorelei album. We talked a lot about it earlier. We failed to mention that we also have an exclusive vinyl variant, which is very exciting.
It's lime green.
Lime green. No.
It's very cool.
Or as I like to call it, This Is Lorelei.
That's good. Yeah. It's very cool looking, I think, if I do say so.
Go pick up. Oh, we also have the beabadoobee album.
beabadoobee.
At shop.brooklynvegan.com. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Dave and I will be back every Friday morning with new episodes of BV Weekly. And in between the episodes, you can always get much more from us at brooklynvegan.com, on all of our social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can pick up records from us at shop.brooklynvegan.com. And if you like what you hear, tell your friends about us, subscribe to the show, give us a good rating. All that little stuff goes a really long way. It really helps us a lot, and we really appreciate it. So until then, thank you again, and see you next time.